Hi, I'm Leon Lovelace, and this is Unstoppable Force. I got a news story for you, and it's from Vox.com. It's about how Khanna is introducing legislation to increase the earned income tax credit. Northern California Representative Khanna plans to unveil Wednesday legislation that will give substantial tax credits to low and middle income Americans. This goal includes combating two of the most troublesome aspects of the American economy: income stagnation within the working class and rising instability caused by a shift from secure jobs or benefits to jobs or gigs lacking them. More broadly, he's motivated by surging interest in Silicon Valley in using income redistribution as compensation for the costs imposed on workers by increased automation. The ambitious proposal from the freshman representative, which could cost $1.4 trillion over 10 years, would turbocharge a program that has enjoyed an unusual amount of bipartisan support since it was introduced in 1975, the Earned Income Tax Credit. Senator Sherrod Brown will introduce similar legislation in the Senate. The EITC supplements the pay of low-earning households and incentivizes low-income people to work. It's designed to make work pay, as President Bill Clinton famously put it. For tax year 2016, 26 million people received about $65.6 billion in credits. Alright, this is a good idea because for a lot of the working poor and the working class people and just poor people in America, they need some more income, and this is a great way to do it because the government just gives these people cash. But the big flaw in it is that the income credit is really crappy for single people. So if you got a child, 1 to 3 children, that's really what it's ideal for. I have one child and I get a fairly big tax credit just for having one child. But if you don't have a child, you don't really get much of anything from it. So they did increase the payouts for each level for if you don't have any kids to if you have 3 or more kids. But I think they should actually adjust and increase it a little bit more for if you're single, because just because you don't have any kids doesn't mean you're not suffering, because the corporations are shipping all our jobs overseas and aren't creating any good paying, high earning jobs right now, highly skilled jobs right now. The program works by providing refundable credits that begin with a small subsidy for the first dollar of earned income and gradually rise until, for a 2-parent family, 2 kids, the subsidy reaches a maximum of about $5,600 for an income of $14,000. It stays at level till income hits about $18,300, then begins to phase out. Families with 3 kids get a little more; those with 1 a little less. Childless families get a very skimpy credit. The Khanna Brown proposal, the Grow American Incomes Now Act, would roughly double the current EITC for families with 2 kids, bringing it to a maximum of about $10,800. The proposal would continue the policy of being less generous to childless workers, but it would quintuple their maximum credit, taking it from $510 to $3,000. The large expansion of the EITC I'm proposing would compensate for the loss of wages of the bottom 20% of wage earners since 1979. To give a sense of the level of subsidy we're talking about, under Khanna's proposal, a family with 2 kids earning a salary of $18,000 would get a credit worth more than $10,000, a salary bump of some 55%. What also would really go really great hand in hand with this proposal would just be a basic income, a guaranteed basic income for the government. So government would give people, especially the poor and the working class income earners, they really need this along with the just a basic income from the government. So those two hand in hand would really take out a lot of the financial instability and a lot of the poverty out of our society. But I think this still also helps out those Silicon Valley corporations that Khanna represents, because they're still not having to pay out more money to their workers. So I'm liking this, but we still also need to make sure that the corporations are paying the people a fair wage of $15 an hour. Actually, we should really push for, we need an $18 an hour minimum wage, because even though we produce $15 an hour worth of goods and services, actually us getting paid $18 an hour would actually help the economy and also help with financial stability with the poor, the working class, and middle class families. So it'd be just a great benefit for the people for us to get $18 an hour minimum wage. And this is another important part of this article. Khanna knows the bill isn't likely to pass a Republican-controlled Congress because they hate trying to help out the people of the United States. He's hopeful that that could be served as the basis of a Democratic plan to tackle inequality and challenges the new economy as we head towards the 2020 presidential race. And he thinks it will resonate with voters more than Republican tax cuts. All right, and then he talks about there are a variety of ways to pay for such a large expansion of the EITC, including a financial transaction tax, closing the special interest tax loopholes, raising revenue from the top 1% of earners. He should also really talk about raising the taxes on the corporations. But I'll skip a little bit. Then he also says, I also look forward to learning more about the House Republican offsets that pay for their $5 to $7 trillion worth of tax cuts for corporations and the very wealthy. The general idea of expanding the EITC is not new. House Speaker Paul Ryan and President Barack Obama last year both floated EIT increases, but both were much more modest. So I'm hoping that a lot of the other independent media outlets on YouTube and other video hosts and websites to talk about this, hopefully there'll be plenty more of both Democrat and Republican House members to say, you know what, this is a pretty good idea, let's co-sponsor it, because if we could put pressure on them, and we need to actually call our representatives too, because if we could put pressure on them, we could get this as another progressive bill that we could push to really help out the people of the United States. All right, so thanks for watching.